What's up, YouTube? Salute to my B&B Nation. Welcome to another episode of Boxing and Bullish. I am your host, Dab the Smoke, and we about to jump into another one. Check it out. Welcome, gang. Welcome to the Boxing and Bullish Show. We got a lot to unpack today, and so we gonna jump right on in. So first off, for round one, we're gonna talk about the big fight coming up July 25th in Sydney, and that is between Errol Spence and Tim Tszyu. This fight is definitely intriguing to me, with both guys coming off of a loss. So you know what I do. I do an unbiased breakdown, even though Errol Spence is my dude. Flat out. Errol Spence is one of my favorite fighters in the game. I'm so glad that he made a return and came back to boxing. Wouldn't matter, no, he had to worry about his mental health, his family, and if that come first, that come first. However, I am biased. I am happy he is back, and I cannot wait to see how this fight looks. Both of these guys coming off a loss. So you know what I do. I do my breakdown, and we gonna jump right in and get into that. Check it out.
Round one.
Okay. So I'm gonna start this breakdown by first showing just some Spence highlights in his better fights first, because we both know in his last fight he got whooped. So instead of just showing from his last fight, I want to show some of his highlights in his better moments, because this is probably what he's bringing to the table now that he's in there with Ronnie Shields. He looks revitalized. See what Spence used to be like. We haven't seen him in a while. I want to look at Spence at some of his better moments, and let's see what he's bringing now. Let's check it out. This was a great fight. Him and Sean Porter put on a war. So, I mean, overall, this was a hell of a performance on both guys for me. Sean Porter made this a real close fight, but Earl pulled it off. So this was one of his better fights for me, because Sean Porter is always a tough fight, and this was a slugfest. Hard to kind of break it all down, because he at war right now. But there we go. The jab is one of Spence's best tools. Woo! Woo! Big hook. One thing about Spence, he's going to stay in front of you the whole time. Oh, that was a big shot. Oh my goodness, this was a tough fight. On the inside, this is where Spence really go to town. This is what I like. When he on the inside and he get to go into the body on him, it's a sad case. If you get to beating on you on the body, it's a sad case. The fundamentals of Spence is going to be bold, straight left, beautiful. The fundamentals of Spence is going to make a huge difference in this fight.
He has such a high boxing IQ. Well, you know, he's
another good fight, but he whooped Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia is a dog. Don't get it twisted, but he just controlled him. And you probably never seen Danny Garcia get controlled like this in a fight before. But Spence had his eye black and blew out by the end of the fight. It was just too much. Had his eye blew out. You ain't never seen Danny Garcia marked up and touched up like that after a fight. Spence had him roughed up. If this is the same kind of Spence that's coming back, it's gonna be a rough night for Tim Tszyu. This fight right here, this was a dog fight too. This was a hardcore fight right here. Spence like the got his teeth knocked out. In fact, I believe he did get his teeth knocked out. That's what he said. Ugas ain't no joke. Spence literally rearranged his face. Yeah, he rearranged his whole face.
And look at the rhythm that
He had stuff all over the place. Nose all on the side. Elephant Man. Turned him into the Elephant Man. Even though Ugas rocked him and liked to knock him out, knocked his teeth out, Spence rearranged this man's whole face. This is what I want to see, though. I want to see if this is the type of dog that's coming back. And I think it's going to be. If it is, it's going to be a fun fight. A fun fight. Tim Tszyu is no joke. Let's not get that messed up. Just because he got knocked out, Tim Tszyu is no joke. Nothing to play with. Errol Spence that we get to see coming back, it's going to be a very, very interesting and good fight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, we looked at some Spence, and we see what he used to be. And Spence was a dog. So, if this is the type of Spence that's coming back, oh, it's going to be nice. It's going to be scary. And it's going to put everybody on notice at 154. 154 is a hot division right now. Spence coming back and he still want to fight. I hope he do, because I think he's going to put on a great performance. And if he do and want to continue to fight, 154 going to be a special division. So now that we show some Spence highlights, let's show Tszyu, because even though both of these guys took losses, I want to show them both in their best light, because we want to see what they really are besides the losses. We want to take a look at what their qualities and what they really are. So let's check it out. Woo! Woo! That right hand is nasty, though. That right hand is nasty. And when he catch you flush, you know it. The whole arena heard that bad boy. I think it was a first round knockout. Woo! See? Smoked him. See, that right hand is nasty. Nah, Henry Thundor, honestly, he was beating Thundor ass. Broke his nose, he was beating his ass. If it wasn't for that elbow to the head that busted his head, he would have beat Thundor. He was catching him with the right all fight. Right down the middle. I don't even want to go through all of this, because it was so gory and bloody. It's just too much. It wasn't really fair. Not fair to put this out. It turned out to be a loss, but not because he was getting whooped. It was because he got caught with an elbow. It busted his head really bad, gave him a really bad cut. So we're gonna go to the next clip. Guess who this is? Brian Mendoza, saying when I mentioned the knock Thundor out, working Brian, but there go that right, bop, bop. You know, when you hit you with it, it's no, boom, it's super noticeable. Ain't no missing on that. Boom, that's some good shots too. Look at that. Beautiful uppercut. Right down the middle, that right hand. Tszyu got skill. Tim Tszyu got skill. He's a dog in his own right. He's a dog in his own right. We're looking at what's coming to the table in this fight and what each fighter gonna be looking for. Woo! Woo! Right hand. Boom! Huge right hand. See, this is what I'm talking about. Tim Tszyu brings that. Look, just walking him down. 10th round, full of gas.
Right uppercut, jacks the
Woo!
How in the hell is Mendoza still standing?
See, look. Tim Tszyu is a monster. Alright, so now that we've seen the highlights of both fighters, Tim Tszyu, Errol Spence, now that we know what these guys are bringing to the table as far as what they do well, let's check out their last appearances. Each of these guys suffered devastating TKO losses. We just want to check out and see what went wrong. So what I'm going to do is start off with the Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence fight in Vegas. I was there, and we're going to go ahead and check that out. Before I go into the highlights of the fight, I just want to make sure that I'm clear when I say that I picked Bud to win this fight between Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford. I knew that Errol was going to be bringing the inside fight. That's what Errol do. He coming to you, straight to you, and he gonna use the jab and start going to the body on the inside. But what I also knew was that Bud loves that kind of game, and he is a sneaky counter puncher on the inside. And I thought Bud would have the advantage in that, and it was a last minute decision. And my family had asked me who I was picking right when we were standing outside of T-Mobile Arena. We had just bought the t-shirts for the fight. I had on this one with the Spence and Crawford. And then they said, which one you picking? I took it off and put up the Aqua Bud. I put on the Aqua Bud and picked Bud right then and there. And I'll be damned if Bud didn't go ahead and whoop Errol Spence's ass. So anyways, I just wanted to tell that story. Let's get to the highlights. Okay, so right away, what we want to point out is this. Bud Crawford is the greatest fighter of this era. Aside from Floyd Mayweather, Bud Crawford he's the greatest fighter of this era. So let's just be clear of that. Tim Tszyu is not going to be bringing the same strategy, skills, attributes that Bud brought for this fight. One of the things that neutralized Errol Spence in this fight was the Bud Crawford power jab. Here you see him use a double jab, go into a combination. Another thing that I can say, the jab neutralized Spence. He could not get inside and do what he liked to do, which is go to work on the body, on the inside. He couldn't jab his way in. Every time he tried to, he got countered. There go the counter. There go the jab. There go 2-1. Caught him with a 2-1. At that point, Spence was already getting beat up. By round 2, beat up. He was already getting beat up. He was getting rearranged. This round 3, his nose was already bleeding. So he was getting touched up really early. Bud was touching him up early. And there go the 2-1 again. The same one dropped him in the round previously. So it was a whole lot. As you can see, he did not have his timing either. He was trying to get inside. He really couldn't. After getting countered that many times with that jab, see, this is where Spence wanted him. Right there. And he couldn't do anything. This is where Bud had all of the advantages. He couldn't. Yeah, by this time, it was pretty much academic. Bud Crawford really pretty much had the fight already over with. It was already over with. But you could just see the counter punching made a huge difference. As well as, oh my goodness, as well as shots like that and the jabs. By this time, look, he couldn't do nothing with Bud. Different kind of fight though. Something Tim Tszyu is not going to bring this to the table. We just want to show the last performances. The last time we seen them, what did they look like? What happened? What went wrong? That's all we want to see. Okay. So, we just saw what happened with him and Bud Crawford. We just wanted to see the last time we seen them fight. The last time we seen Errol Spence in the ring. This is what he looked like. He had a really rough night. Bud Crawford is the best fighter in the world. The skill level that he brought to the table is not going to be the same skill level Tim Tszyu is bringing to the table. That's one of the things we want to factor in. However, that night, what went wrong? Bud Crawford's amazing jab, number one. Number two, Errol Spence couldn't find the range. He couldn't find the right distance with his jab. Errol Spence has a great jab, but he couldn't land it that night. He couldn't get inside. Every time he tried to get inside to go and land and do the body work and do what he liked to do, which is be on the inside and work a guy over and beat him up. Errol Spence gets his best opportunities on the inside. And he couldn't get on the inside with Bud. Bud countered him every single time and ended up TKOing him. Now that we show Errol, let's show Tszyu versus Matazliev. That was the last time Tszyu was in the ring. Let's check that out.
Fighter,
Back on Murtazalia.
this will be his. So far, both men showing a stiff beard, taking big shots. Tszyu unloads the right hand.
Tszyu got huge power, but that left hook, he never recovered from that. This was round 2. It was over with. That left hook pretty much knocked him out, and Tszyu was fighting on hard for the rest of the time. He was knocked out from the hook. So that's why there's not much left for highlight, because the left hook clipped him good, knocked him out. And he was fighting on hard. That just go to show you Tszyu ain't no punk. That put him down. He never seen the left hook after the first one. The left hook was the monster for him the whole time. The left hook knocked him down 3 times and finished him. That was it. They gave him another chance, but after 3 knockdowns, the 4th was just like, go with, jump in, stop the fight. See? Murtazalia is super strong. This man got super power. It's over with. So now we have seen Tim Tszyu in his last time out. Now, let's look at the breakdown, what we're going to see happen for this fight. So what I did notice is that Tim Tszyu is a sucker for the left hook. He has a problem with the left hook on the inside. He doesn't see it. Errol Spence does use that left hook on the inside. Don't believe me, just ask Sean Porter, okay? I think that that's going to be a problem. Another thing I believe is that Tim Tszyu will be right in front of Errol, and Errol will have the opportunity to do the kind of work that he likes to do. Coming forward, jab, body work, left hooks to the body, inside work, beat you up, and just keep the pressure on you till he take you down and take you out. That's how Errol like to do. He like to stay right there in front of you and beat you up. Tim Tszyu's going to be there. So he won't have a problem with that part. Now, this is what Tim Tszyu is going to be bringing, though. Tim Tszyu has dynamite in that right hand, in them gloves. When he hit you, you hear the whole arena hears that pop. So he got pop. And he lands that right hand consistently. We've seen him against Tony Harrison, knock Tony Harrison out with it. We've seen him beat up Fundora with it. Even though he took an L, that was a technicality. He didn't get beat up for that L. His head got busted. He beat up Fundora, broke his nose, and everybody knew that he was whooping Fundora ass until he took that L from the elbow. Everybody know the truth about that. The right hand is legit. And if Errol gets to getting clipped with that right hand, I don't know if he worked on his defense. Hope he did. Because if he gets to getting clipped with that right hand, could be a short night for Errol Spence. I don't think Errol Spence is chinny, but he hasn't taken no real shots in a while. Sparring is different than the real thing. So we're going to see come fight night. But also, I do want to show these clips of Errol in training because he looking pretty good. So let's check it out.
I'll say he's not going to be the same. He's going to be better. So much better than he ever was. You know, his body is well rested. He feels really good. You know, everything is going great. And as you saw today, you know, his punches are fluid. You know, he's strong. And he's throwing the punches the way I think he should throw them. And, you know, defense is looking good. So everything is going great. And, hey, everybody that's thinking he don't have anything left, just wait.
All right. Errol on the mix. Looking sharp. He looking cut. He looking sharp. He look ready. So Errol Spence is looking pretty sharp. He's looking pretty sharp. So it's going to be a pretty good fight. I'm pretty sure of that. I think he's bringing it. I think he actually looking like he wants to compete after this fight. Looking like he wants to smoke. I'm very happy and pleased to see it. But this is something that I'm not so pleased about, that's still dealing with Errol Spence. And we going to jump into that. Let's check it out.
When Derek have any conversation like, look, this is how we got to get down for this fight, strategically, or even your strength and conditioning? Y'all have any talks about that going into that camp?
Nope.
Come on, EJ.
Oh,
Biggest fight of both of y'all's career.
man, that camp was booked.
The whole camp.
Yeah, bro. Like I didn't spar probably 6 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, 6-7 weeks. I didn't
But then,
no sparring.
Nah, he just put it out there like that, just a flat thing. But he's not really saying everything that happened in camp.
The sparring partners, the guys.
You talking about the sparring partners?
I ain't had no southpaws in there to spar, none of that. Basically living wrong, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Even getting ready for Crawford?
No, I'm saying before the Crawford fight.
Got you.
And you can't get in camp thinking, you know what I'm saying? You're not that young where
You
you get in camp
wrong.
and thinking everything
You
gonna
know,
be
you living. You know,
be
you
good
got
now.
a reputation
you
for
gotta, even
the
out of camp,
alcohol.
you gotta live right. So once you get in camp, everything be cool. Just like now, I'm cool now because
Yep. Well, now
you
you
know what I'm saying? I
cleaned
been
up.
living right. I
You
ain't
look a
been
lot
drinking none of
sharper,
that,
too. Now, you just seen that clip from Errol Spence and Andre Ward. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what Derek James had to say about that. Let's check it out.
Did spar for 2 weeks, and supposedly he got injured within the last week of the sparring, so he couldn't spar for the next 8 weeks because he had suffered an injury in that sparring session. That's
Now, he explaining what happened.
That's the only
He was
thing that's
injured.
really different.
We know the
That he
news. We
didn't
got
have
the
the ability to
news
spar
out.
because he was injured.
Showbiz broke this a long time back
and
that he
let me
had his
zero in on that
ribs
because
was injured.
He said in the
So,
interview, I didn't
this was
spar
broken
for
a
like
long
6
time
to
ago
7
that
weeks. I didn't get no
He
southpaw
was actually
work.
injured in training camp.
Didn't
He had
get
a rib
prepared
injury.
at all for Crawford's southpaw stance.
So
to
that's the
prepare me to
reason
block
why they
the
didn't
jab.
do no sparring.
Why?
And
So are
Derek
you
James is
saying
explaining
at
this
the very beginning
right
of
here
camp,
on the
he
last
injured
stand
himself
with Brian
in your
Custer.
sparring, and so
He
that's why
is
he didn't
explaining
spar?
what
Why did he
happened
not spar then?
in training camp. So we're just gonna listen to it real quick.
From like the second week of sparring, first of all, he had 2 guys that were switch hitters, so they both of them fought left-handed, right-handed. Supposedly, one of them injured him, and he didn't acknowledge that he was injured.
And Earl didn't tell him.
But the next following week, we sparred. Then we took a day off from sparring. Then we sparred again on Saturday. We sparred Monday. We didn't spar Wednesday. Then we sparred again on Saturday. So that's when I realized. That's because they were like, "Hey man, his ribs are hurt, whatever."
Here
So
we go.
go
He's hurt,
Wednesday.
injured
Then we came on
ribs.
Saturday, see how it feels. He spars. Then he gets, it's like it's over. He gets out. We kind of, But I don't know if the sparring partners knew because we didn't want them to know. So people, people
course.
talk or whatever. And then
Just
it's
before the
like,
fight, you don't want that
we just
that to
kinda, I
come
said,
out.
Listen, you need to go get that looked at, checked out or whatever. But and we just kept working.
And who then made the decision? Because as he says in the interview, I didn't spar for 6. So let's say if the ribs got better, who made the decision and said no sparring?
Well, his father did. His
His
father said he
dad.
done
See?
sparring, he gonna save it till
His
the fight.
dad
His
came
father
in and said no more
is the one
sparring.
who said no sparring.
See?
And he was
No more
complaining about
sparring.
the way the other guys were sparring. So so that's what it was.
And he came to you and said that.
Yeah, he said he didn't like the way he said no, he's not sparring. He's not gonna spar. And even week of we were in Vegas, and I said, well, we can spar a little bit, but spar with one of your buddies who won't shoot body shots if you have injury. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not sparring. No. So
Well, that's
he
it
wouldn't
right
even do
there.
it then. So it's like, hey, it is what it is.
Okay, so there we have it. We had both sides. We had Errol Spence interview, and then we had Derrick James responding to what Errol Spence said. Now, Errol Spence, I stand by my statement that it wasn't right what you had said with Derrick James. Even though you try to clear it up and say that you got to be living right, you know that you also had an injury. You also know that based on what Derrick James said, your dad said no more sparring. So it wouldn't make sense for him to reach out to get southpaw sparring partners if you are injured and you can't spar. So it makes perfect sense as to why Derrick James didn't reach out, why y'all didn't spar for those weeks during your injury to not risk you getting further injured. And he probably would have done it, but your dad said no more sparring. So it makes total sense as to why he didn't get southpaw sparring partners for Errol Spence. So now that we kind of know that, and now that we've just examined that, I still stand by my statement that it was bold as hell to say that about Derrick James. Now, we going to move on to round 2. Check it out.
Round 2.
Now, before I jump in my previous videos, you can go back and check. I talked about this. I said PBC was going to have to bring their ass over to DAZN. They was going to have to come over. They was the only ones holding out. Still trying that pay-per-view. When Thurman fought Fundora and they tried to do that $60 pay-per-view on Amazon, I knew it's a wrap. The press conferences, the presentation, everything looked low budget. It was no money. You could see it. We knew that that's what they were going to have to do, and that's what they needed to do to stay afloat. And now look.
Concedes to His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
Mm-hmm.
And
said
signed a multi-fight deal.
Signed a multi-fight deal. And guess
now I know people
what?
gonna say,
guess who not included in the deal?
Well, for the people that don't
Oh
understand.
my goodness. Now, this is the big part of the news. Gervonta Tank Davis will not be included in the DAZN PBC deal. Holy moly. You done made Turkey that mad? Because see, PBC had to do what they was going to have to do. And they got the biggest star in boxing. So that's one of the things that make them attractive to DAZN. But he's going to have his own separate negotiations. He's not included in DAZN's schedule. Wow. That is something major. And Tank, all I can say is, you did this one to yourself. Now, I said this. I put this out here in my previous video. You were loyal. Now PBC is using you. They using you as a pawn. When you should have already made that move yourself to go over there with DAZN and Turkey, because everybody is working with them. Everybody working with Turki Al-Sheikh. Everybody's fights are getting put on DAZN. All the promotional companies are over there now. PBC finally had to go ahead and understand if they're going to be able to stay in business, they were going to have to move over there with DAZN, and now is no other side of the street. Everybody is on the same street. It's no more ducking and no more, no, I'm not going to fight you because of this and that. Everybody under the same umbrella. So it's about to get real interesting. And Tank, I already had put that out there in my previous videos that I felt Tank Davis should have been leading the pack of stars on DAZN. Now PBC is over there, but they can't even include you in the fight schedule. They got to do separate negotiations for Tank's fights. And that is really because of Tank Davis. Now, we already know in the news that Bill Haney had conversation with Al Heyman about Devin Haney versus Gervonta G Money or Gervonta Tank Davis. And we were very excited about what could be coming up because Devin Haney was talking about Keyshawn Davis first, then Gervonta Davis in January. So we were very excited about that. But then we come to some more kind of disappointing news. So now we know that despite Bill and Al Heyman talking, we also have found out that they tried to offer a 70-30 split, meaning Gervonta 70, Devin Haney 30, and that was a counter with a counter offer. Now let's show the counter offer. So Bill offered $15 million guaranteed for both fighters and guaranteed a split of 55-45 in favor of Tank. $15 million guaranteed, both guys, 55-45 in favor of Tank. And Tank kind of turned it down. Didn't turn it down, I won't say that. He didn't turn it down, but he didn't respond. Even though he came back and said, listen, I'm in control of my career. Al Heyman is the man, but I'm in control of my career. He didn't jump at that. He didn't say yeah, but he also didn't say no, which means that the offer is still there and he's mulling it over and is probably interested in it, but he might not have all of the power to be able to just take it. And they might have to figure out how to make it happen for him if they're going to do it at all. This is what we see. They gave him 70, they offered 70-30. Devin Haney and them turned it down, as they should. That doesn't even make any sense. Then Bill Haney countered with 55-45 in favor of Tank, $15 million guaranteed purse for both fighters. And Tank and them have not responded. So, wow, quite disappointing. But we knew that PBC was going to eventually have to go over to DAZN and do business with DAZN. All of the other promotions are over there. That's going to make it for exciting times with boxing because it's no longer other side of the street business. Everybody's on the same side of the street. So we're going to be able to get a lot of fights done that we weren't be able to get done in the past. So it's very exciting. Even though we're disappointed that we're probably not going to see Tank Davis for 2026, maybe not even 2027. We'll see. Now we're going to move on to round 3. Check it out.
Round 3.
So for round 3, we're going to talk about another one of my favorite fighters in the game right now, the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. We're going to talk about what's next for him and some disappointing, disturbing news that's been circulating around. And we're going to touch on it real quick. Boxing and Bullish, we don't like to get too personal, but this is news that's been circulating. So we do have to go ahead and present this to the BNB Nation. Check it out. So just to start out, we're going to talk about what's next for David Benavidez. So in my eyes, I was hoping that they would be able to go ahead and make Benavidez versus Jairo Patai, but unfortunately, it's not really unfortunate. It's something that makes total sense for why David Benavidez is doing this. But his next fight, so far from what I have read and what I'm seeing, his next fight is going to be against Noel McKellian. And the WBC ordered this as mandatory. Now, David Benavidez did speak on this himself too. And he said he's coming to the end of his PBC contract. So it didn't make sense to take a really hard fight at the end of his contract. So that makes sense. So we just going to check this out real quick.
Well, for the WBC order is Mikaelian against Benavidez. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
If he takes another fight, then he's relinquishing his obligations with the WBC. So when the WBC received a petition from our light heavyweight champion, who is David Benavidez, who won the WBA and the WBO Cruiserweight Championship, to fight against Mikaelian. The WBC ruled in favor and ordered Mikaelian to fight against.
All right, so there you have it. Even though we were hoping for him and Jai Opetaia to be able to get a deal and fight, his next fight, it makes sense for him to fight Noel Mikaelian. He was ordered by the WBC to fight that fight, and he said he's at the end of his PBC contract. And so it didn't make sense for him to take a hard fight at the end of his contract. So yeah, it makes sense for him to take that fight. But we're going to get into the next piece of news about David Benavidez that's been circulating all over the internet. Okay, so here at Boxing and Bullish, we not going to get into people's personal matters too much. This will probably be the first and last time that I get this deep into a personal matter. But with this being all over the internet and me being a boxing channel, I do gotta speak on boxing news. So this bit of news has came in. So David Benavidez was planning to be married. I think it was coming up very, very soon too. And what we saw on Instagram was his fiance had put up a post. I'm going to go ahead and read this so we can just see it and read it and see everything in context. Okay, here we go. The decision to cancel our wedding is because of his ongoing personal struggles that have affected our relationship, struggles that many people are already aware of. I have spent years trying to protect him, defend him, and carry burdens that were never mine to carry. I can no longer continue doing that. My faith teaches me to forgive, to love, and to pray without ceasing. But it also teaches me that truth matters, that boundaries matter, and that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop shielding someone from the consequences of their own choices. I will never stop praying for David. I genuinely pray that he finds healing, peace, and renewed relationship with God. I believe God can restore anyone who chooses him wholeheartedly. Wow. What the word is going around on the internet, and I'm not going to confirm or deny this, Dave could be struggling with his addiction. He did get busted by VADA and was stripped of his title, super middleweight championship, because of the drug use. Right now, a lot of people are speculating due to what his fiance said. He is back struggling with drugs. Now, I don't know, and I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to confirm or deny that. I don't know. So I'm not going to say anything to that effect. But what I am going to say is that we are praying for David. If he is going through something like that, we are praying for David, for healing for David. And we are wishing the best for David, whatever he going through, whatever struggles he going through, especially even just with his marriage not going through like it was supposed to. We praying for you, David, and we are wishing the best for you. So that's all that I'm going to say about this situation, and we going to move forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Boxing and Bullish. I am your host, Deb the Smoke. Remember, subscribe, comment, like, share, and I'm going to see you at the next one. Peace.